and welcome to Riffs on Writing, where we answer your writing and publishing questions in 5 minutes or less, except for today. We are joined by Clay Jones, who is one of our clients, and we were thrilled to publish his book, My Sister's Brother, Breaking the Silence in a Family of Pretenders. So welcome, Clay.
Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to talk to you about the book.
So our first question is pretty simple, but also kind of complicated. Why do you write?
Wow. Yeah, that is a complicated but simple question. You hit the nail on the head. So for me, the writing began actually as a recovery journal about 20 years ago, began my kind of recovery journey, if you will. And initially, there was a number of things in my head that happened in my childhood and family and all the struggles. There was a number of things that I could not even silently admit to myself. And then once I was able to overcome that heap, a lot of people in different kinds of recovery write journals. And so I started writing, what if I write this down? So then I could see on the page. But I had no intention of sharing that with anyone. These were horrifying, embarrassing, shocking, sad, tragic things that happened. And finally, again, a few years farther in recovery, the next stage was kind of like, what if I share my recovery journal with a trusted friend? And so I did that. And it felt good. And they felt good. And I shared it with another, and I shared it with another. And over a number of years, probably 10, 15 years, eventually I thought, what if I share this story with the world? And that was kind of the next permutation, if you will, of my recovery journey. And that's where we land with My Sister's Brother. And I am just thrilled that it is out there, it is published. My friends and family and everybody I meet and talk to are like so grateful and honored and thrilled, to see it and to read it. And of course, even close friends of mine, they had no idea a lot of these things were happening in my childhood. And so very eye-opening for them. And another thing that happens is a number of people I encounter, they have their own childhood struggles that they've never shared with themselves or another person. And my hope is that it kind of cracks that door open a little bit for them.
That's amazing. Well, and you sort of answered the second question we always ask, which is what inspired you to write this book? But I think I'll vary that and just say, what do you hope your readers will get out of reading your book?
Right. My hope is that it's inspiring, and it's very dark, particularly probably in the first third of it. And I hope it ends on a higher note. And it's kind of roughly chronological order from childhood and some really dark days to adulthood and recovery journey of healing. And so what I really hope people get from it is that recovery is possible. I think there's just so many people out there that could benefit from some kind of recovery, whether that's AA or trauma therapy, or there's all kinds of modalities and things that people can do. But many people, I guess like I was initially, are afraid of stepping foot in the recovery world, or what is that going to look like? And so I hope it inspires them to work on their own recovery. And one of the things I did with my website is I have a way for readers to contact the author, and they can actually write a short paragraph synopsis of their personal journey anonymously. And I'll edit that and put it on the website. And that may be the first time that some people get to put something out to the universe of their own story and see how that benefits them.
I love that. We'll put that link too in the show notes for people.
And so this is actually quite relevant too, because you're writing about such emotional things, and people might be writing about emotional things as well when they're writing their journals, whether they intend to publish them or not. But what does your writing space look like?
Well, typically the physical space looks like a very large and busy and loud coffee shop, restaurant, bar that's open till midnight. I do my best work after 9 p.m. And one in my neighborhood that I found that I just loved, and I spent many, many late nights there for months and months. And very loud music playing, and everybody's on their laptops and computers and writing or doing research or whatever they're doing. And that was a place for me, probably the main place for me. But sometimes also I'll go to the public library. The library in my town, it's like a 8-story building. So go to the top floor. There's beautiful windows overlooking the city, and a nice brightly lit writing space there. I've spent a lot of time there also.
That's amazing. Those are great. And that's part of the reason we asked that question, because everybody's different. Like the idea of being out in public after 9 p.m. makes me a little glitchy.
Especially if you're writing things and you're writing very intense things, to have that balance is also nice, that you're out in the public. So you have to sort of manage the emotions or while you're doing the work. That's interesting.
Do you have any rituals besides going out to a place that surround your writing life?
Nothing really comes to mind. It may be related. I think one of your other questions may be about, maybe this is part of it, kind of my mode and my modality of how I approach this. I come across many things in my ordinary daily life, and a spark hits me, and I write it down, or I make a note on my phone. And then when I'm going to sit down and work on the writing, I've got like 10 things that have hit me in the last couple of weeks, and I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely need to go down that thread and explore that. So things hit me at random times, in random meetings or conversations or situations, or maybe recovery meetings, something someone says strikes something in me. And so I make note of that. That's something I want to explore further. And so that's part of the fuel, that the input of feeding ideas.
I love that.
And so we know how hard you worked on your book, and you worked very hard on this book, and it was a few years in the making. But what's the one piece of advice that you could offer someone? And especially, I think in this case, I'm going to make it even more specific and say someone who is possibly thinking of publishing their story that might be quite intense.
Yeah. Two things come to mind. One is be gentle with yourself. It's so easy, I think, at least for me, people in recovery, to focus on helping others. And I've worked in the helping professions for almost 30 years in child welfare and child abuse prevention and these kind of things. So my persona has been about helping others, but don't forget to help yourself. And that means be gentle on yourself. And, encourage people that, recovery is possible. A part of that really helped me was, over the years, I would take a portion of my manuscript and I would have one of my close friends in mind to vet or read this part of it. It may be another author that wrote their own completed story published, or I had someone who's an expert on domestic violence, for example, in the legal sense and all that, to looking at parts of it. So rely on the experts, and people are experts on their own experience, on their own life. And so that really helped me to kind of guide me and just get that feedback and maybe look at it in a different way that I would look at it, about how to approach it. And so that was really helpful. Be gentle with yourself, and don't be afraid to ask for help from your friends and colleagues. Don't give them the whole thing, but give them a chapter or a piece of it for some help with.
Yeah, that's great advice. All right, Clay, you're not in the writing world in the same way some people are, but you do read a lot. Do you have a particular writing book that you would recommend to people?
Yeah. Surprisingly, believe it or not, I'm not a reader, but don't tell anyone. I'm not. I struggle to read. Yeah. But over the years, there's been a few memoirs, in particular, authors that I've met, and one in particular comes to mind. Her book literally fell off the shelf and hit me in the foot, and I write about her in the story and acknowledge her. And I read that over a weekend. I couldn't put it down. And then I met her, became friends and colleagues over years, But generally, I'm not a reader. I have a sister, Rebecca. She's an avid reader. She reads like 100 books a year. I'm not exaggerating. She's done this for decades. I'm not in that world. I don't understand that. I cannot. My brain operates differently. So everybody's different. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Tell us the name of and author of the book that fell on your foot.
It's called How to Cook Your Daughter. by Jessica Hendra. She lives in Los Angeles. And one of the things early in my writing was I was looking at other memoirs. The Glass Castle, I met the author of that one at a book signing that was turned into a movie. But How to Cook Your Daughter, that one literally, it fell off the shelf, hit my foot, and I saw the title of it, How to Cook Your Daughter, and I was immediately horrified. What the heck is this? And I started reading it and I could not put it down. And I sent her, she lives in LA, her publishers are in New York. I just felt compelled to send out to the universe a thank you for that. It goes to her publishers in New York, not expecting anything in return. To my surprise, a few weeks later, I got an email from her. I'm so sorry it took so long to get back to you, but I live on the West Coast and they're in the East. And thank you for your thoughtful words. And that developed a relationship and we became friends. And I invited her to my town to present at a conference I was organizing for their child welfare professionals. And they were stunned and people were moved and people were silenced. And, just another one of those collaborative things where for me, when I share a part of my story, it's a win-win. I feel a little bit step closer on my recovery journey, and I can see in their eyes over and over and over, they're like, wow, I had no idea. Thank you. This is powerful. This is healing. I didn't know this was possible.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, and your book does that for anybody that'll pick it up. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here. We will put all the information in the show notes for how you can reach Clay if you'd like to share your story. And in the meantime, pick up your copy of My Sister's Brother. Thank you for being here, Clay.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for your hard work. Couldn't have been possible without Mountain Ash Press and you ladies. Yeah, I mean that. Thank you.